After finding out my wife was cheating on me, it took everything I had not to lose it. They say when life knocks you flat, you should try to get up and do something useful with the anger. So that's what I'm doing, sharing what happened. Maybe it'll help someone else. Maybe it'll help me. Let's call my wife Linda. She's 26. And the guy she cheated with? Rick, 27. He used to be someone I thought was a friend. We met in a way that felt like fate, but really it was our mutual friends pulling the strings. We were both seated at the same table at a wedding. I was 22. She was a stunning bridesmaid. She had a laugh that could light up a room, and I fell for her almost instantly. We talked the whole night, danced, drank, and in the middle of that crowded floor, we kissed. That one kiss turned into a full-blown romance. Our friends teased us about it. We brushed it off, but deep down, we both knew something had started. A week later, she texted me about grabbing a coffee, and from that point on, we were inseparable. We dated for a couple years without much drama. Sure, we had little spats now and then, but nothing serious. I popped the question, she said yes, and a year later, we were married. The first year went by smooth. But not long after our first anniversary, something changed. She became more private, guarded, said she needed space, started going out with her girlfriends more often. I tried to talk to her about it, but she brushed me off, called me clingy, accused me of being paranoid. Things got cold between us. Real cold. Our conversations became short and dull. The affection? Gone. The good morning kisses? Gone. It felt like I was sharing a house with a stranger. One night, I couldn't take it anymore. I checked her phone, nothing. But something still felt off. I went out to her car, and there it was, a second phone, hidden in the glove box. My stomach dropped. I read every text, every photo, every chat. I documented it all. And then, like an idiot, I called the number from one of the messages. That's when I saw Rick's name pop up on the caller ID. Rick, a guy I'd known for a while. We weren't best friends or anything, but we hung out at get-togethers and laughed over drinks. I saw red. I lost it, shouting, pacing, cursing, just alone in my office, trying to hold myself together. That's when Linda showed up at the door. I looked her dead in the eye and told her to get out. She went to the bedroom without a word. I just sat there, staring into nothing. Later, I called up my old buddy Tom. He's the guy who introduced me to Linda at the wedding. I told him we needed to meet for a drink, and he didn't ask questions. I brought the evidence with me. Sat at the bar alone until he showed up, already 2 shots in. When he sat down, I laid it all out. Told him Linda had been cheating, with Rick. He was stunned. Said he was sorry. Promised to keep quiet about it, especially around his wife. I asked him to tell anyone who asked that I was just stressed from work. We drank until closing time. I Ubered home, not even checking my phone until I got inside. Missed calls, dozens of texts. She had no clue where I was, wondering if I was okay. She was passed out on the couch. I walked past her and crashed in the bedroom. Next morning, she was back in our bed like nothing happened. I didn't say a word, just got dressed and left. Tried to bury myself in work. That night, I came home late. She said she made dinner. I ignored it. She followed me around, asking what was wrong. I finally snapped. Told her I was exhausted and just wanted to sleep. Next morning, I got an email from the divorce attorney I'd found during my late-night search. We arranged a meeting. As I left the house, Linda tried to win me over with breakfast and small talk. I told her I was busy with work and brushed her off. The lawyer meeting went well. He said the evidence I had was solid, and since we lived in an at-fault state, she wouldn't get much if we divorced. That was news to me, but it was exactly what I needed to hear. I asked him to keep the originals and give me copies. I didn't want to confront her until I was ready. When I got home, she wasn't there. I called. No answer. I texted, told her I didn't care if she was with Rick, just to get home. She called me right away, pretending she didn't know what was going on. I said, just come home. Now. She showed up 15 minutes later. I looked at her and said, that's just about how long it takes to drive here from Rick's. She stood there, saying nothing. I laid it all out. Told her what I knew. She tried to talk back, but I slammed my fist on the table and pulled out the stack of printed texts and photos. She broke. Started crying. Apologizing. Said she still loved me. I didn't buy it. Oh, now you love me. I asked. Where was that love when you were sneaking around behind my back? She tried to hug me. I backed away. Don't touch me. I told her. She begged to make it right. Said she'd do anything. I looked her in the eye and said, I'll never touch you again. My lawyer's seen these. I'm filing. Get your stuff and get out. That was 3 days ago. She's been quiet ever since. And to be honest, I hope it stays that way. From the moment I told Linda to get out, I decided that any future communication would go through my lawyer. As for Rick, the so-called friend who betrayed me, I couldn't let him walk away unscathed, not after what he did behind my back. I knew he was engaged, and I felt a responsibility to tell his fiancée the truth. Figuring Rick might be more careful now, I planned to reach out discreetly. I had her number from a few times we'd met, so I tried calling her first. If that didn't work, I figured I'd stop by their place when I knew Rick would be at work and leave a note on her windshield. I wasn't after revenge. I just believed she deserved to know. The next step was taking care of myself. That morning, I scheduled a full STD screening with my doctor, an appointment I have in 2 days. I also looped in my closest people, my dad and a few longtime friends. They were supportive from the get-go, offering to help however they could. I told them I had it under control, but just knowing they were in my corner meant a lot. Then came the awkward part, talking to Linda's family. I started with a message to her parents. I thanked them for always being kind to me over the years, then let them know Linda and I were getting divorced. I said I'd miss them, but truthfully, their constant meddling was something I wouldn't miss at all. I gave them space to reach out if they had any questions. The toughest message by far was the one I sent to Linda's sister, Wendy. We'd always had a solid friendship. She treated me like family. I told her what happened and said I was sorry that things might change between us. I didn't expect a response right away. Later that day, Linda's parents messaged back, shocked and confused. Here's how the exchange went. We're so sorry to hear this. What happened? Linda hasn't said anything to us. Me, she's been having an affair at least a year now, maybe even before we got married. I don't know why she hasn't told you, but you might want to call her. She moved out, and I assumed she might be with you. We haven't seen her. We'll try to reach her right away. Are you sure she cheated? Me, yes. I found the messages myself. I have everything. They thanked me for letting them know, and said they'd try to talk to her. Next, I reached out to Rick's fiancée. I figured she might already be suspicious, or that Linda and Rick had cooked up some story to cover their tracks. At 2 p.m., I texted her and asked if she could meet me for coffee. To my surprise, she agreed almost immediately. We met at this offbeat cafe near her office. I got there first, ordered what might have been the worst cup of coffee I've ever had, and waited. She showed up not long after, looking a little nervous. We got our drinks and sat down. I didn't waste time. I told her flat out, Rick has been sleeping with my wife for over a year. She froze. Total shock. I explained I'd just found out a few days ago, and that I was in the middle of a divorce. She asked how I knew, so I summarized what I'd discovered and handed her a binder full of proof, texts, call logs, even photos. She flipped through it quietly, tears welling up in her eyes. I told her she could keep the binder. Whether she wanted to confront Rick or just see if he'd lied to her, it was hers to use however she saw fit. She thanked me quietly and left. Since then, I've been trying to decompress. Everyone tells you to stay sober, keep calm, but sometimes you just need to sit on your back porch, light a cigar, and let your favorite music drown out the noise. I boxed up all of Linda's things, her clothes, her jewelry, our wedding album, every photo of us. It's all sitting neatly in the garage, ready for her to come collect whenever she decides to. Outside of a couple broken picture frames, I didn't destroy anything. At this point, I've done almost everything, met with a lawyer, set a doctor's appointment, and started informing the people who mattered. Linda's stuff takes up most of the boxes, and if she keeps her distance, this divorce might actually go down without too much drama. Now, full honesty, I've been drinking too much. That first week, I was either drunk or numb. Couldn't tell the difference. Funny thing happened, though. After sharing that last update, I passed out on the patio. Next morning, I woke up to the smell of bacon and eggs. My first thought? Linda. I got up, ready to snap, only to find Wendy in my kitchen, cooking breakfast. She didn't say much. Just led me to the table and handed me a plate. As I ate, she apologized. Said when Linda came to her, she told her we were having minor issues and would work it out soon. But when I sent Wendy that message about the divorce, she confronted Linda. That's when the whole story came out. Wendy said Linda tried to downplay it, calling it a one-time slip. But the timeline didn't add up, and Wendy wasn't buying it. I told her straight. I was done. No reconciliation. I also advised her to tell Linda to get a lawyer if she hadn't already. Wendy nodded. Said she wasn't there to take sides, she just wanted me to know our friendship still mattered to her, regardless of what her sister did. It meant more than she knows. She stayed a couple nights in the guest room before I headed to my cabin. It's a property I owned long before marriage, so it's not up for grabs in the divorce. I packed my hunting gear, and when Wendy asked if she could come along, I gently turned her down. Told her she should check in on her sister. She gave me a hug and left. Before anyone asks, there's nothing romantic there. Wendy's a good deal younger than me, and besides, she's always been more like a little sister. After she left, I got back to my checklist. I went to the doctor. Waiting for the test results now. Also, I've kept in touch with Rick's ex-fiancée. She says she's coping but unsure what to do next. I told her if she needs someone to talk to, I'm here. If you're going through something similar, here's what I've learned. Make your plan. Whether it's divorce or reconciliation, decide what you want. Talk to a lawyer. See a doctor. Inform the people who matter to you. Keep personal stuff offline as much as you can. And take time to breathe. Cry, scream, write, whatever helps. Update. Been back from the cabin a few days. First day out there, I got lucky, bagged an 8-point buck. Clean shot. Gave me time to fish, too. Caught a couple decent-sized ones. Cooked one. Cleaned the other for later. Something about the woods helped clear my head. The quiet. The work. The blood and sweat. I stayed mostly sober, just a drink or two at night. Held up better than I thought. This morning, I got a call from my doctor. When the doctor called to tell me my results came back clean, it was the first bit of relief I'd felt in weeks. Deep down, I already figured I was fine, Linda and I hadn't been close for months, but hearing it for sure lifted a weight I didn't know I was still carrying. I tried reaching out to Rick's fiancée again, and though she did not answer right away, she eventually messaged back saying she was staying with her family. She didn't go into detail, but just knowing she had people around her was enough. I replied, letting her know I was here if she needed to talk. The next day, she asked if I wanted to grab coffee again. I agreed without hesitation. Same quirky little cafe as last time. She showed up looking exhausted but determined. We sat for a couple of hours and talked. She asked me what I was doing about my divorce and whether I had any thoughts of fixing things with Linda. I told her straight, cheating's a deal breaker. No matter how much history you've got or how many memories you've built together, once someone crosses that line, it's like a bridge that burns itself behind you. There's no walking back. She admitted she was torn. Her heart was a mess. Her family wanted her to forgive Rick and carry on with the wedding, but she was not so sure anymore. I told her that family pressure could mess with your head worse than anything else. Sometimes the people closest to you think they're helping, but really, they're trying to shove you into a decision you'll regret forever. I reminded her, Rick didn't just make a mistake, he made a choice, over and over again, to betray her. If that's not enough reason to walk away, I didn't know what would be. She nodded, eyes misty. I told her the same thing I told myself. When your brain and heart are both scrambled, your gut still knows what's right. Trust that. She thanked me, and we went our separate ways. Next day, my lawyer gave me a call. Linda had been served at her office. I thanked him for handling it so efficiently. Not long after, Wendy called. Said Linda had been holed up in her room all day, crying. I figured that was bound to happen once the consequences caught up. Wendy and I talked a bit about my cabin trip, and then we hung up. But I knew the storm hadn't hit yet. Linda was emotional, and I had a strong feeling she'd show up at the house looking for a fight. I checked all the security cameras, inside and out. My lawyer had already told me there wasn't much I could do to keep her out legally, since we both still owned the house, but at least I could protect myself with video if things got ugly. I couldn't take money from our shared account yet either, but thankfully I had my own savings to rely on. Just to be safe, I asked a buddy of mine to come over and hang around, in case Linda pulled something reckless. He brought his wife along too, probably not the best idea in hindsight. About an hour later, Linda came barreling up to the house like a tornado in heels. Banging on the door, yelling every insult in the book, screaming that I was cold-hearted and evil. I just stood back and laughed. Not out of amusement, but because if I didn't, I'd scream right back. Oddly enough, she didn't use her key. Maybe she thought I'd changed the locks. My friend parked across the street and started filming everything from his truck. His wife made the mistake of trying to calm Linda down and got slapped in return. That was enough. My buddy called the cops right there on the spot. Linda kept yelling even as the police pulled up. When they tried to talk to her, she spun a wild story, saying I hit her, threw her out, and locked the door. I saw the officer's face change as he turned to approach me. I knew what was coming. "Sir, we need you to step outside," he said. "Before you do anything," I said, "check the security footage." I showed him everything from the moment Linda pulled up, her shouting, slapping, the whole scene. The officer watched, nodded, and apologized. They cuffed Linda instead for disturbing the peace, public drunkenness, and driving under the influence. Right as they were putting her in the back of the squad car, Wendy pulled up. She looked confused, then shocked as I played the footage for her on my phone. A different officer came over and handed me the incident report and case number. Wendy and I went inside. She told me she had only run out to the store for a few minutes. When she got back, Linda was nowhere to be found. Figured she'd passed out in the guest room. Not quite. Wendy stayed the night. We split a beer and went to our rooms. By morning, she was gone, off to meet her parents. I figured they'd be scrambling to figure out what to do about Linda. I haven't heard from any of them since. Later that afternoon, my lawyer got a call from Linda's attorney. Looks like her side is ready to proceed with the divorce. Good. Let's get this done. I texted Rick's ex-fiancée, just checking in. She replied that she'd officially kicked him out. Her dad and brother helped pack his things and dump them at his place. She admitted they nearly laid hands on him, but she stopped them. She told me she just wanted to move on. Start fresh. I respected that. Friday after work, I headed back to the cabin. As I pulled in the driveway, I noticed Wendy sitting there in her car. She was waiting for me. She had a list of Linda's things that needed to be picked up. Luckily, I'd already boxed everything: clothes, jewelry, even our old wedding photos. I told her I wasn't touching another thing. If Linda wanted the rest moved, I'd hire someone. Wendy appreciated that. She loaded one box into her car and then looked at me, hesitating. "Do you mind if I come with you to the cabin?" she asked. I said sure. Told her to drop off the box at her place and pack a bag. I'd wait. Wendy was packed and ready to go, so we locked up the house and made the drive out to my cabin. That weekend was exactly what I needed. The quiet, the trees, the view, it gave me space to breathe again. No drama, just peace. Come Monday, I got back to business and called in a moving company. By Tuesday, 3 guys showed up with a big truck. I documented everything, took photos of every item, filmed the whole process, made sure nothing could be disputed later. When they were done, I handed each of them a $50 tip and thanked them for their time. I sent every bit of that documentation over to my lawyer: photos, videos, the works, just to make sure there would be no surprises down the line. Now, the house feels empty, but in a good way. No more of Linda's stuff around. It's quieter, cleaner. My lawyer had recommended keeping any shared belongings until things were settled, so I rented a storage unit and put most of the furniture in there. I've been sleeping in the guest room since all this went down. Started picking out new furniture. 2, kept it boxed up in the garage for now. Truth is, even if I end up with the house and the divorce, I do not plan to stay. Too many memories. Too much pain soaked into the walls. Time for a fresh start somewhere else. Update. Life's been moving fast. Between coaching high school baseball, pushing the divorce forward, and dealing with everything else, I've had little time to catch my breath. Shortly after Linda's things were moved out, her lawyer sent mine a claim saying I damaged her property, demanded $1,500 or threatened court action. My lawyer didn't flinch. He sent back every piece of documentation we had, every video, every picture, and told her lawyer to name a single item that was supposedly damaged. He also pointed out how unreasonable they were being, and that if this went in front of a judge, all that evidence would make them look petty and desperate. He told me her legal team was clearly not ready for the kind of preparation I'd done. Honestly, I've been reading stories online since this all began, learning how to protect myself, how to prepare for every angle. I was not about to let this turn into a she said, mess. Linda called a few times, but I never picked up. If she left a voicemail, I forwarded it straight to my lawyer without listening. He once joked that I was his dream client: organized, disciplined, followed instructions. That little comment helped keep my spirits up. About 3 weeks back, my lawyer told me we had enough leverage to try and settle things out of court. If nothing else, it would show that we were being cooperative, which could only help if we did go to trial. We arranged a sit-down meeting at a neutral attorney's office. Before we went in, my lawyer pulled me aside and reminded me, stay calm, stay quiet. Anything said in that room could be recorded and used later. When we arrived, I was surprised to see Linda already there, sitting with her attorney. We didn't speak, just sat across from each other, waiting for the formalities to begin. Her lawyer asked what kind of settlement we were offering. My lawyer didn't hold back. He laid it out clear. Linda would get half of the profit from the house sale and half of what was in our savings. That was it. Nothing more. She'd walk away with what she brought in. Then he leaned in and calmly told her lawyer that if this went to court, everything would be brought into the open. Every text, every picture, every detail of her cheating, including her recent arrest footage. She'd be reading those messages out loud in front of a judge. Linda looked crushed. She stared at me, tears in her eyes, and asked if there was anything she could do to make things right. I told her no. I said, "You were cheating before we even got married. There's no coming back from that." I encouraged her to sign the settlement. It was more generous than she deserved. She ran off to the restroom for a bit, crying. When she came back, eyes red and puffy, she signed the paperwork. Just like that, it was over. Our marriage was done, at least legally. It just needed to be processed and finalized. For those of you wondering, nothing's changed between Wendy and me. We're still just friends, good friends, and I'm thankful for her support through all of this. But it's strictly platonic.